Hello, everyone, wherever you are in the planet. I wish you are having a great day, afternoon, night, and that you realize that time is not a straight line, but a spiral of constant energy moving, of creation, of everything. So tonight I am going to record a different type of video for you. This is not live, it's recorded, and it's a meditation with one of the major arcanas of the tarot cards. The tarot cards that I appreciate working with are the Thoth Tarot cards that were created by a couple, Aleister Crowley and his companion, who was a painter. She did a great work on the painting of each card, and he updated the order of some of the major arcanas to the order that this deck offers. So the card we are going to be meditating with during this video, it's the new Aeon. This is actually an arcana that they changed the name because it's equivalent to the Judgment card. So instead of the Judgment card, we have the new Aeon. And if you look at both cards, right, and understand where the Judgment card goes and where the new Aeon goes, those are two parallel different realities. And I definitely choose the new Aeon, the Thoth Aeon Tarot card. And this card moves away from the Christian theme of the judgment of the Rider Waite deck. The three eons have been outlined in a previous writing about the tarot, and the eon is the current era that is meant to be the rulership of the dual god of Heru Raha, the special name given to Horus. Horus was one of the Egyptian gods. He was a child, and Horus basically represents the sun, right? He's a product of Hadith and Nuit. And it is a beautiful card. I'm going to put some music right now and then change to the card so that you can actually see the card. During the meditation, you can close your eyes or open your eyes, it doesn't matter. You can relax, that's important. Focus on the message of the card, either by looking at it or looking at it for a little bit and then closing your eyes and see what you get inside. It is totally up to you how you conduct your physical body during this meditation. But the important thing is to have no judgment about the card. Just look at all the symbolism in the card while we meditate with it. So let me put some music. The song you're gonna listen was written by my father, Antonio Santos Cunha, also known as Tony Mel, and this track is part of a CD that he created with songs for each sign of the zodiac. So this song is the song of Taurus, because we are at the moment I'm recording this, it's we're ending Taurus. We're in May 22nd today, and actually 23rd, and we're moving into Gemini, but I thought we should listen to the track of the song for Taurus by Tony Mel. And here it is. It's a very beautiful track. And I'm going to transfer you to the card so you can envision it. This is the Aeon card, one of the major arcanas of the tarot deck that is known as the Thoth deck, created by Aleister Crowley and his companion, who painted those cards. And she actually downloaded that, painting them inside of a pyramid in Egypt, or a temple, I don't know, one of the buildings there. So she was downloading all that information during her painting there in Egypt. And let's see. Oh, I already told you this card is equivalent to the Judgment card of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, which is a more traditional deck. So it is the same number 20, card number 20. And as a Judgment, it's very Christian-like, because it's got the trumpet, the angel, and people being judged after coming back from death. But as the Aeon card, everything changes into actually not a judgment, but a new time of glorious living, of harmony and justice. So this card, according to the Tree of Life, occupies the path between Hod and Malkuth. Malkuth is where Earth is where we are on the Tree of Life. So this card is actually the Aeon, is the tunnel that connects us to Hod, one of the spheres of the Tree of Life on the left side path. Hod is the seat of human intelligence, as well as harnessed willpower, will list. Malkuth represents the physical world. So the Aeon card, connecting them, implies the blending of energies between the two spheres. So we have the evolution of human consciousness and understanding, which is Hod, about the nature of our physical reality, which is Malkuth. Our consciousness becomes more universal as we see the oneness behind creation. Older perspectives are burned away by spiritual fire. Isn't that awesome? Older perspectives are burned away by spiritual fire. And that's what many of us are experiencing right now. I see humanity divided. A big number of humans are experiencing the old card of the Judgment card, the Christian card of the Judgment. And many of us are experiencing the Aeon card, which is this one. We're not focused on the end, but we're focused on the beginning. The new Aeon, the new era. All right. So at the bottom of the card, we have actually a Hebrew association with the letter Shin. It's very subtle because you can see it's painted in yellow above around the feet, and that is the letter Shin in the Hebrew writing letters. And the card is gold in color, and horrors stands on it, stands on the sheen leather, as you can see at the bottom of the card. Sheen means tooth and is the mother letter of fire. The relevance of this element to the card's meaning is discussed on this section of the card, right? In a picture, it's not discussed, but it's represented. So, continuing with the card, you can see these are the feet of Horus, and there is an elemental association with fire, as I mentioned before, which is what the leather sheen represents. And then we have the spiritual fire connecting the microcosm to the macrocosm, as below as above, or as above as below. And it describes the fire of creation, the macrocosm, the universe, the Kundalini fire. Basically, the Kundalini fire of the new human waking up, awakening his Kundalini, its Kundalini through the feet and coming up to the top of the head, aligning all the chakras. Fire is also a key stage on the spiritual path, which is the same regardless of Aeon. Although the overall collective consciousness of man may be unique. So if we relate to a passage of the Bible, John Baptist actually said that said that about Jesus. I'm gonna read this. I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance, but he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire. Fire, the phoenix being born from ashes into fire. So this is most of the bottom of this card, what it represents, and the awakening of the human consciousness. There are different plans of consciousness, right? And we are connecting to that understanding. We are living beings that are experiencing different lives all at the same time, and might not be at the same place. So they are all existing at the same time, because time is not a straight line, but they are placed in different locations of this universe. All right. So, like I said, this is a representation of the Kundalini, but it also represents the anklets, and it's got Hadit, which is the winged globe of fire between the hands, and there is Nuit on top of the card. Nuit is the goddess, the Egyptian goddess of night, which covers the whole edge of this universe we live as a consciousness. So this card represents our entering on the tree of life. Not entering, but awakening into the tree of life. Horus, the front of the card, and drawn as he is, like if he is invisible, like you can see, is transparent. He is naked, which implies his innocence and child status. So that is a very important key of this card, is the innocence of Horus, of the child of good and evil, the child of night and day, the child of duality that connects both sides of consciousness to be born again, to be reborn from ashes into the fire. All right. And Horus actually, just let me go back to this. Had it, which is Horus' father. it's the phallic symbolism in terms of sexual alchemy. It shows the penetration of Hadit into Nuit, which is the mother of Horus. It's the night, the infinite night of the universe. So he activates her dormant potential. Hadit activates Nuit's dormant potential. And being winged and phallic, like has the property of motion, and representing Keter, has infinite knowledge to release into the infinite potential of Nuit. Horus at the front of the card and drawn as if you were invisible, naked, like I said before. He's got a hand gesture on his lips, and he's confused with the Hippocrates of, like the Greek god of silence, showing the image, but is not exactly that. Horus is the product of the union between Hadit and Nuit, but is known as his special name, Heruraha. His passive side is Hurparkrat, and his active side, or Rahorquit, as he saw on the previous representation of the sun, the tarot card sun. So the Greek version of Horus, because there you can see actually Horus. He represented in different cultures. This is the Egyptian representation, but he is also Jesus, which is represented in the Christian, Catholic belief, and in when this movement of energy moved into the Romans in the south part of Europe, but is also represented as Quetzalcoatl by the Mayans and Krishna by the Hindus. And this representation of the newborn, reborn from the ashes, child of Hadad and Nuit, child of the duality that expresses its infinite potential. It's represented in all the major cultures around the globe with different names, but the same meanings. On top of the head of this card, Horus has 3 serpents, and with one coil around the third eye region, emphasizing the importance of this for illumination and spiritual growth. The golden light of this card, it's a representation of the sun in character, and therefore surrounded in golden light reinforces the transformation by fire, which this card is an analogy for. So Horus has been a head dress which has two horns projecting sideways. These horns are similar to the Egyptian gods Knum, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Khnum, who is said to have created children out of clay from the banks of the river Nile. And he was a god with two horns on top of the head. Alright, so we have enough of symbology here for me to be describing, because I want actually you to look at the card now without listening to me and going into each part of the card symbology without any judgment and just listening to what the card tells you about this new era of Horus, the newborn child, which represents the consciousness of the human being being born, reborn from ashes into the golden era, the Aeon, the new Aeon. And many of us are already experiencing this transformation deep in. It's not easy. We can feel the transformation through the body and through the consciousness. Sometimes makes us feel a little tired and not willing to do much here on the physical plane, but it is a process of being reborn from ashes. And I will stop talking now for now. Keep meditating, either looking through the card or closing your eyes and looking it from within you. And I'll be back to call you back to this physical plane. Oh, okay. These sounds are so beautiful, and we're slowly coming back from wherever we were traveling through in consciousness with the symbology of Horus and the new Aeon on the tarot card from the Thoth deck, which replaced the Judgment card for the new Aeon. So there are two ways of looking at what's happening right now. You can focus on the old tarot deck that calls for the judgment of humankind, or you can look at it from the point of view of this re-dawn card called the Aeon instead of the Judgment, which is the human consciousness being reborn from ashes into the phoenix. Thank you for listening, for meditating, for being who you are, for awakening along with many of us, for this is the time to join the other lions. Much love to you, to all of you, and I will be doing a sequence of these meditations with the major arcanas of the Thoth deck. Out of order, because I'm not a person that follows order too much. I will just pick the card that needs to be spoken at the time. Just like I picked this one today. Stay well. Please share. Click like. Comment. Go to my website and join my newsletter. All of this helps me keep going with this. Because I need some feedback from you, you know. Like, I need to feel that I'm doing this for something. That I'm not just talking to an empty space. But I know I'm not, but it's just good to hear from you. Anyway, thank you again, and in much gratitude and unconditional love, I'll talk to you soon.